Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to show you guys the update spread heavy bowgun build since the new Fatalis meta, and also analyze the difference between the burst cannon and the new Fatalis heavy bowgun and see if it's really an upgrade. All the builds will be made up of the same parts, with the only difference being the decorations needed to make the guns work. So with that being said, let's get into the builds. The first build we have is with the new Fatalis heavy bowgun, the Verbuster. This gun has a ton of negative affinity, so in order to mitigate that we run max might secret, with 5 points of critical eye. With maximum might active we can reach 100% affinity with weakness exploit and then 120 when agitator is active, so the negative affinity isn't much of a problem. Since we have so many decoration slots, even after putting in core skills like spread shots, attack and critical boost, it's going to come down to your personal preference of what secondary skills you want. I went with Divine Blessing Secret because this gun can't afford to use a shield mod since it needs 3 recoil mods, so I thought Divine Bless would help the build's survivability, along with level 3 of 8 extender. You can also go with Tool Specialist, but I felt like the skill is more for long fights, and typically with spread the monster will long be dead after you use both your mantles anyway, so I didn't like it much, but feel free to change it. The next build we have is with the burst cannon. Unlike the Fatalis heavy bowgun, the gun has natural positive affinity, so we don't need to rely on maximum might for additional affinity. With this build we're able to just nearly max out all of the skills that a heavy bowgun build would want: max agitator, max attack, max critical eye, critical boost, weakness exploit, and even max quick sheath. There wasn't much else to add, so I was also able to squeeze in max guard for heavy bowgun shield setups. Also, because the gun already reaches 100% affinity, you're also able to augment the gun completely for attack, as well as the last build with Fatalis heavy bowgun. Now, let's test out how the damage between the two builds matches up against each other. I'll be using the affinity booster for consistency. It seems like with everything active apart from agitator that the Fatalis heavy bowgun is hitting for 64 per pellet on a tenderized weak spot. Now let's try the burst cannon. I'll also be using the affinity booster for consistency, and adding close range mods to check the full damage on the burst cannon, since Fatalis heavy bowgun naturally has more raw. And after testing it, I found that the burst cannon was also hitting for 64 per pellet, which means for all intents and purpose the guns are similar but not exactly. The burst cannon needs more close range mods to catch up to the Verbuster, while the Verbuster needs recoil mods to keep its recoil low. Now let's get into the pros and cons of each gun. First, the burst cannon. Typically this gun is always used as a shield HVG setup because it gives you a great defense while still having great damage and defense, making it very versatile while also having positive affinity. The downside that it has Wyvern Heart special ammo, which means it tenderizes a lot slower, and the new True Razor Shark skill armor skillet has a smaller clip size, which means it will have to reload a lot more often. What makes the Fatalis heavy bowgun so great is that it not only has a large clip size, but it also has more chances not to expend bullets in the chamber, which means it doesn't have to reload as often, which means it can keep up the pressure on the monster very well, which means despite the similar damage output between the two guns, on top of having quick tenderizing since it uses Wyvern Snipe. However, the Fatalis heavy bowgun isn't perfect either. It can't be used as a shield heavy bowgun build. A lot of the mods are used to take down some of its large recoil, and it relies heavily on maximum might for affinity, which could affect the consistency since in a real fight the monster will constantly be moving. Yes, the maximum might secret works like the old maximum might and gives you the affinity instantly, but it won't change that you will only have about 80% uptime of the skill. And that was my builds and breakdowns of the new spread heavy bowgun meta. If you're comfortable with the monster in the fight, I would say use the Fatalis heavy bowgun, but if you want to learn the monster first or just want a more comfortable run, I would say use the Safi burst cannon. But if you enjoyed the video, I would like to thank you for watching, and if you liked the video to like and share with friends. But until next time hunters, remember to stay classy and to hunt with style.